All right, gateway in the trucks. So we are going to go 14 to 1. I could go 16 to 1 here, but I don't think I really need to. Steering offset, I brought it down to 0. That's what's straight for me on the straightaways, and I like that. And front brake bias, it feels good for me around that 56%. Maybe could go lower. I'm not really sliding any tires on corner entry, but as a rule of thumb, I don't love going below that 56 mark in the trucks because it gets to a point where the benefit of having a lower brake bias is one thing, but then if you have to go hard on the brakes to avoid something, then you just instantly spin if you're too low. I think I'm going to do a first lap hot lap here. We'll try 2 laps. I'm going to downshift. Oh yeah, we're going to be shifting here. We'll go over shifting stuff later. The one thing I really want to do is make sure that I'm bringing all the way up in the revs, as close to the chip as possible. That's what we're going to be doing here. Late braking, aiming for the seam. Downshift into third. It's going to be really loose here. I'm going to be a little patient. There we go. Bring it all the way up. There. Ooh, that was a great shift. Then 3 and 4, we're going to bring it all the way down at the bottom, a little bit of an arc to it. Wait to shift until late. Roll the bottom. Just roll it. Don't want to come up too early here. It was okay. It's about as good as I had been doing, but it was still pretty good. I think that's just going to be the lap there. Let me try to send this on the bottom just to make sure. Yeah, because then I'm going to get really loose off that corner. See, that's what happens when you bring the car all the way down, is that when you try to get aggressive back on that throttle, it's just going to want to be loose, especially in that third gear. Bottom might work a little bit better with fourth gear. But anyways, let's go take a look at that first lap, because that was the money lap there. So, the run-up, like I was saying. Okay, so here's how I shift. Because I know a lot of people ask me how I shift. So I'll play it through first so that you can hear it. Okay, so you have to wait until you're super low in the revs. If you short shift in a turn in an oval car, you're just going to be spinning wheels for no reason, and it's going to light up your tires. It's going to make you loose and think that you're driving good, but it's really just counterproductive. So don't do that. So you notice what I do when I'm shifting here. I blip my throttle just barely, and that allows me to get it down into third. And then to upshift, I bring it all the way down, and then you see here, I just blipped like to half, and then I can click up. So that shifting is really not any more crazy than that in these oval cars. Just for you guys that are on auto blip. Auto blip is not very good at this type of situation for shifting because it takes too long. You lose a lot of your advantage. So if you're going to be shifting, you got to try that anti-stall. Just practice. Okay, so here we go, turn 1. You know what, sorry. I'll turn down the volume a little bit here. Okay. So I'm waiting to get on the brakes until it's fairly late, but I consider it early because we're pretty far before the corner here, before the green light if you like to use markers. But my just marker is I want to be on the half brake before the banking starts to transition, and then as I transition into the banking, I bring it down into a trail. Now I'm pretty sure the fastest way is to just get to the seam and stick to the seam, but if you're carrying a little bit too much speed, I dip down a little bit lower and just hold the brake for a little bit longer and then use my wheel to force the rotation. That's not a great thing for long run, but for hot lap, it's fine. So brake, and then here's the shift. Low in the revs. Low in the rev shift, and then now that we're in third gear, we can't slam the throttle, so I'm just going to be holding at that 60%. Just holding. As I can straighten out my wheel, that's when I raise my throttle. And coming off of 2, don't short shift up to 4 because you're going to just be losing some of that potential. Okay. 3 and 4 also going to be shifting. Going to be a little bit harder on the brakes here. So this time, instead of aiming for the seam, I'm aiming for just the bottom. Love this rumble strip. It's very forgiving, so you can get on a little bit and it won't really mess you up. So I'm just trailing that until I feel like I am just no longer needing to slide up to the wall. So that's what we call the weight shift. So I wait for the weight shift and I get onto that 60-70% throttle after the downshift. And this exit's a little bit sketchier with the upshift. because it happens earlier. But you just got to make sure that you don't do any sudden corrections to the right, or else that's going to really mess you up. So you just kind of got to hang it out without actually sliding your tires. Make sure that you're pitched to the left a little bit, and that's what's going to keep you safe when having this upshift while you're still kind of completing the corner. So anyways, that's that lap. So let's talk about long run a little bit. So Gateway is a real single groovy type track. Even if you can technically make multiple grooves work in 1 and 2, it doesn't really work like that because you just have to use up all the real estate of the track by the wall regardless. If you're pinched on the bottom, you're not going to make an exit work. So I like to earlier brake and less severe brake. So I like, on my long runs, I like to extend the duration of the brake and lower the severity of the brake. Oh, and I like to not miss my upshifts too. Now, a lot of people actually run this race without downshifting. So like I can go into this corner, wait on the brake longer, and then it sounds a lot better coming off the corner. It sounds like I'm saving more time, but look at how much speed I lose. It's a way of driving it. I could have approached that probably better. I could have kept it wound up more. Here too, you can get back on the throttle and you can kind of be more aggressive on it because you're such low in the gear. That corner 4 is decent. 3 and 4 you can take in 4th gear, but 1 and 2, you're so slow that you just gotta keep that momentum wound up. So that leads back to a couple things I talked about earlier, is that when you downshift in the corner, you don't want to do it early like this. Don't do that. You don't want to do that because that gets your car upset. It spins your tires. Everything is kind of lit up for the corner. The lap time might look good, but you're going to destroy your tires. What you want to do instead is you use your brake to rotate the car. You don't rely on the downshift, and you wait all the way until you're low in the revs. Oh, oops, I had too much wheel input there. I went for a downshift and it didn't happen. I'm like, what the heck? So I did it again, and I got caught off guard. But now I'll show you. So you wait until you're about to get back on the throttle. That's when you downshift. You don't want to utilize your downshift for rotation. That just doesn't work in oval racing. And then we just ride that throttle, keep our momentum up when we get back on there. And then we don't go aggressive on 3rd gear until we can get our wheels straight. And this isn't really even that bad on tires because we're still keeping the car neutrally balanced. We're just utilizing the more amount of acceleration that we get from 3rd gear. My goal is not to have 3rd gear do everything for me. I want my brake to still do my turning. I just want that 3rd gear to help my acceleration. I'm not relying on 3rd gear for anything else. You see how I'm not even forcing 100% until late in the corner? That's going to help too. Of course, remember your upshifts. That's going to happen a lot. I think I like 3 and 4 not shifting. I think it's close enough. 1 and 2 you gotta shift though. And if you're like me and sometimes forget what corner you're in, I think you can shift both corners and be just fine. 3 and 4 you might see slight benefits if you're not a super disciplined driver in 3rd gear to keep it in 4th. I think that 3 and 4 it's more viable to keep it in 4th. But we'll do it one more time with shifting here. I just get a slightly better run, and really, it's so even. I think it's about what you like the best. Because I think that the tires, in theory, maybe keeping it in 4th might be better, but it's also easier keeping it in 4th to overdrive it, and then put too much on your right front. Because what you'll see with the tires here is they should be pretty even. Yeah, 97, 97. When you use that third gear and you are driving that car on the edge of loose, it really helps not overdoing the right front tire, which can be a hassle at Gateway. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.